Hey, Pudge, what time is it?
It's time for the Chubby Guys podcast.
Woo!
There's your clap, Tyler.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, we're back.
We're back, part two.
Part two, Coach Hall.
Now you've got questions.
I got it.
You've been fired up about
this. I've been waiting on this. I got to hear about it. I want everybody to know. I don't know that a lot of people know. Coach Hall, you were in college. You were a graduate, or a student, or graduate assistant.
Student assistant, yeah. And did all the graduate work.
What years are we looking at here, if you don't mind? It kind of gives your age away, I guess. But
it's okay. 90 and 91.
At Morehead State.
No, I'm sorry, 91, 92. 91, 92 at Morehead State, yes.
At Morehead State, and that would have been the head football coach at Morehead State was?
Dave Proctor was the guy's name.
Okay. And the D coordinator?
Was Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan. Okay. I mean, all of the football fans out there certainly know who Rex Ryan is.
I do not. But I'm not ate up with the game of football.
Yeah.
If you watch all the ESPN morning shows or
I don't.
NBC, or I don't know what network is he on for the NFL?
Hey, do you want to help develop your child's athletic ability? Or maybe you want to get off the couch and make yourself a little bit better. They earn the day at AP Prep. Look them up, apprep.info.
My God, as a parent of an 8-year-old with a family and moving through life, the best thing I ever did was download the McDonald's app. What a breeze. Order for your family. Pull up. They bring it to you. Easy. Download the app today from McDonald's.
NFL Today, NFL Network, whatever he is.
I mean, he was a former, he was an NFL, long-time NFL coach. He, his brother, his father, very famous, particularly on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay, right.
But, I mean, he and his brother for years, but his father was an absolute legend.
Right.
I mean,
right.
You know,
That's Buddy Bryant.
Buddy Ryan.
Buddy Ryan.
Yeah. Now okay, so at this time, Rex, I mean, everybody knew his dad.
Right.
But like, was Rex kind of unknown at that time? Or, I mean, what was, how long had he been at Morehead when you showed up?
I think he'd been there 3 or 4 years, and he had bounced around. And so I'm trying to think. His dad, he'd been fired with the Eagles, and this before he was with the Cardinals. So he was semi-retired at that time. So he'd been at the Bears, been the 85 Bears, that notorious defense, 46 defense.
Yeah.
Left and became the head coach of the Eagles, and they had several good years there. And then got fired like everyone does.
Yeah. Was Rex working with him?
No, not that time, because Rex was pretty young at that time. Him and his twin brother Rob, who's now I think I just saw him on TV not too long ago. He's back with the Ravens as the linebacker coach. And he's bounced around too.
Do you still have that long hair, man?
Yes,
yes,
nice, that drives me nuts. Yeah. But Rex was up and coming guy, of course. His dad being the coach and so forth. And we ran the 46 defense. And at that time, I mean, we're bringing them from everywhere. And so at that time, my dad was still the head coach at Withersburg, I think, he was at Withersburg. And so he'd come out to some of the practices, and I told Dad, I said, "You've never seen defense like this in your life." I mean, it was holy hell for 4 quarters, and the way he taught it. And so, of course, back then we're not seeing spread offenses as much either.
No, they weren't really spread out. They were starting to throw it a little more, but they weren't
throwing it more.
But they weren't.
But you still had a tight end, and you still had an H-back somewhere.
Somebody throws twins out there, you're like, ooh, they're getting fancy out there. Yeah.
So if you look back at that old Bear defense, they didn't play against any spread defense. If they had one tight end, and you just ate that alive. It was 8-man front with 2 linebackers. You played cover 3, cover 1 behind it, and you brought the house all the time.
Yeah.
And so Rex was hilarious because he was all about. He wasn't a great technician as a coach of linebackers.
Yeah.
He just basically told him, just knock the shit out of the guy across him and blitz. I mean, if your guy doesn't go, blitz.
And just a motivator.
Oh, my God. He could get those kids play so hard. Yeah. And so, not very organized when it came to his, classroom and different things. I mean, one of my worst jobs I had is I had to collect all the scout tapes throughout the week. Yeah. And I took them with me on the road. So then we went to, Marshall, or we went to, Middle Tennessee State or Tennessee Tech, whatever. Yeah. Then I would hand, the GAs would hand our films back to each other, So the worst thing was to go in his office on Friday nights.
Try to find
those damn tapes because he'd have them everywhere. I mean, he'd always, Andy, I'm sorry, I lost it. I lost it. I don't know where it's at. And I mean, it's not like you don't get on the bus without them. I mean, that's the only way back then. We don't have DVDs. We didn't have, sending on Huddle. I mean, we didn't have any of that stuff. You had physical tapes you had to send back. And that was a nightmare. But he he taught me a lot about how to get kids to play hard. Okay. You know, he was an X and O guy, big time, and you know, he gave me Buddy Ryan's old playbook, which is still in pencil. It was Xerox copy. I have it. It's about awesome. God, it's about 3 inches thick of every blitz known to man.
Yeah,
but he was good. He was good to work for. He treated me well, because a lot of times, you know, GAs and student assistants, you know, you're the bottom of the barrel, man, and you have to do all the dirty work, which is fine, but you have coaches that respect that and understand that they're, you know, your role is important too. They've done it too.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that time with Rex, and I tell a couple good stories about him. Going into the second year, we had a middle linebacker who was first team all conference and honorable mention all world. I mean, this kid, his first name is Fred. I can't remember his last name. He was a kid from Florida, all American, big time player. Well, his plane come in late. We're in 2 days. And so he calls me at 3 in the morning. Andy, I need you to go to Lexington. Why? You have to pick up Fred. And he has no ride. You got to pick him up. Okay, so we go to the airport. I go to the airport and pick Fred up, come back. And this is about now 6 in the morning. We have staff meeting at 7:30, practice at 8 o'clock. He said, I'll tell you what, you go back to the house, get some sleep. Just make sure you're back for practice at 8 o'clock a.m., 8 in the morning. I said, okay. I got you. I'm with you. That's part of the deal. But you know, he was a worker, and he knew I wanted to be a college at that time, college coach, and then eventually high school. And he helped me with understanding kids, and I think that's why the biggest thing. He was a good recruiter. I mean, he could tell the stories, man. But he got kids to play hard, and he was funny at times. He could tear you.
Players coach.
Yeah, definitely a players coach. And you know, you see him on the NFL Today or whatever network he's on, and he does all the pregame stuff and ESPN. And some of the things he says, you're like, did that really just happen? Yeah, that's him. I mean, he doesn't sugarcoat anything except maybe his language on national television. I mean, he's opinionated. This is the way he believes. This is the way he's going to do it. And I think players respected that. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing I got from him was you got to get kids. He's real. I mean, he did not care. Now, understand it's the 90s. There's things, again, you can buy with it. You cut a little different. But I think in the NFL, he wasn't much different.
But
you hear the stories about guys that played for him and his dad. They die for him, you know. And so I think that's important.
Did you meet Buddy throughout the course of this, or?
That's an interesting story too, because Buddy was retired, and he had the horse farm in Lexington. You know, he was a big horse trader, loved race horses. So that's where he kind of retired before he went to the Cardinals. Now, when he went to the Cardinals, then that's when he took Rex and Rob, and they became the defense coordinator, linebacker coach, and that's how they got in the NFL. Is when he went back to the Arizona, the Cardinals. Well, so we're playing Eastern Kentucky, which Moorhead Eastern is a bitter rivalry. I mean, that is Ohio State, Michigan at a 1AA level. So we're playing, it's 11th game of the year. We're playing at their place. They had two running backs that went in NFL drafted kids.
Legendary Roy Kidd.
Roy Kidd Stadium. It was Roy on that sideline. And they were undefeated. I mean, they're nationally ranked. They'd won a couple of national titles. I mean, we're talking the real deal. We're probably a 30-point underdog. So at halftime, we're down 3 points. We're playing our asses off. I mean, unbelievable. Playing great defense. We're running the football, being very conservative, because we're 5 touchdowns worse than this team. I mean, but we're just playing out of our rear ends. We're just doing our job. We slowed the game down. They were high-powered offense. Well, they didn't have the ball because we just ball controlled the hell out of them. Well, at halftime, coach to get together, and our offensive coordinator decided, well, we're going to air this thing out the second half. Have no idea why. Again, lesson learned as a young coach. Maybe you don't want to change if you're doing something well. Maybe keep going with it.
Keep that ball flat.
So all of a sudden, we started throwing the heck out of it. Well, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Next thing you know,
pressure on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, we're just in the game. We get beat by 30. I mean, we just absolutely just ran out of the stadium. So. Players are pissed, coaches are pissed, of course. Rex is really pissed because he's ready to kill the offensive coordinator because their defensively we played really well, and then offensively we just we did some stupid stuff. So after the game's over with, Buddy had been at the game. We didn't know. Buddy came in that locker room, went into the coach's office that they had it there. We're at the visitors, but they're at the coach's office. And tore our offensive coordinator's head off. I mean, he cussed him, called him everything but a milk cow, and our head coach just stood there. I mean, he didn't know what to do because here comes Buddy Ryan. I mean, he's got a finger in his face and he is dog cussing him.
Yeah.
Why are you throwing that stinking ball? I mean, it was laced with verbiage that I don't even want to put on this air. That I thought, oh my God, you know, and Rex sitting back going, yeah, I told you. I mean, I thought we were going to have a fight. I mean, it was unbelievable. So, you know, years later, I see him in the NFL, and you know, Rex is you know, been a friend of mine. When his dad retired, then he ended up being the defense coordinator at UC. Yeah. And then he got back in the NFL and so forth. And a couple of stints, I've been able to see him at clinics and talk to him a little bit. And I always tell that story. I said, you owe me that trip. I said, that 3 o'clock in the morning trip to Lexington sucked. It was horrible. Yeah. And I said, and you lost me damn VCR tapes. I can't even remember. But, you know, but it was a great experience. And I think when you coach in college, and that's what helped get me prepared, I think, is being able to deal with young men. Because in college, those guys were my age, and I'm coaching them. And they had to know that you knew, or they were going to call bullshit, and they're going to listen to anything you tell them. Yeah. So,
you really got to establish yourself, man.
You better
know what you're saying, or they'll ignore you quick.
They ignore. You know, the next year I was coaching. I was coaching running backs the first year, and then did all the scout stuff for the defense. That's how I got to work with Rex so much. And then coached wide receivers in the spring by myself. We had lost a GA and lost an assistant early in spring. They couldn't replace, and they said, "Coach, we want to have you go wide receivers by yourself in spring." I said, "Okay, I'll take them." Well, then the next fall, they basically, especially as a student or GA, you want to coach as many different positions as possible. You're there to learn. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. And they said, well, what would you like to do if you had a choice? I said, well, you know, I played some tight end in high school too, but my offensive line skills knowledge is not very good. I said, I'd like to go to the offensive line. Well, we had a coach that had played in the NFL. He played at Fresno State, was an All-American. He ended up in the NFL for several years. He played for the Denver Broncos when John Elway was a rookie. He played through his first couple years. He played for the Chargers. 6'7", probably 320 pounds, chiseled. I mean, this guy was just a stud athlete. And so I got with him, and you know, he told me, I said, no, I don't have any experience of this. He said, well, let me tell you something right now. He said, I'm not here to hold your hand. You know, we're going to get you through, you know, the summer workouts. You know, I'm going to give you about a month. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to take the guard and centers. You're taking the tackles. Well, we had 2 tackles that one went to the Dallas Cowboys. One was a free agent to the Eagles. I mean, these guys were big dudes. They were big time. Yeah. And I'm thinking, holy crap. I mean, I better figure this out real quick because they're going to know that I don't know what the hell's going on if I don't figure this stuff out. Yeah. And then maybe a week later, I may say, okay, I'm going to take towels, you take the guard and center. So basically, you're going to learn all 5 line positions in about a month, and you better know it, and you better coach it. And even though those guys are 8 inches taller than you and outweigh you 100 pounds, you better man up and get their respect quickly. So, you know, just threw me in the fire and said, you better sink or swim.
I got to think the toughest thing about Kyle.
Hey, guys, on behalf of the Chubbies, huge thanks to Geiger Brothers Construction. Give them a call at 740-286-0800. They've been great community supporters, and they are a friend of the Chubby program, so thank you, Geiger Brothers Construction.
Hey, are you a business owner looking for insurance coverage? Give this guy a call. You know him. You trust him. Jason Gillum, Gillum Insurance, 740-395-0190. College football coaching is, I mean, your level of knowledge at the college football game, particularly like offensive line, those guys are cerebral, man. I mean, like, and the players know a lot of football.
Yes.
I mean, especially position specific. Like, they know a lot.
Right.
And you got to know more to have, you know, back to your thing of the why. I mean, those college guys, I mean, they know the game.
Right. They know it. You're not reteaching 3-point stance.
No. I mean, now you're doing some technique stuff, but like as far as the offense and things like that, I mean, they know what's going on, man.
Right.
And the calls.
Even Moorhead, what would you say the difference between an average senior versus just a, you know, just a seasoned player at Moorhead? What's the IQ difference?
Not even the same hemisphere.
Yeah.
And again, and that's one double A. So that was when Marshall was one double A at the time. Yeah. You know, so it's that FCS they call it now. Like your North Dakota States and those guys are, you know, I tell kids all the time, if you are a college athlete, I don't care if it's Division III, Division II, one double A, 1A, it doesn't make any difference. You are special. I mean, you are incredible. That because you are just like, my son played at Otterbein for 5 years and was starting quarterback for 3 years. I go to his practices and they had they had 20 some players on offense that would have been my best players, and that's Division III.
Hey, there's no question
that would have been all world for me at the high school level.
And the game IQ.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And that allows the game to move so much faster.
The first practice, and again, in Division III, got a lot more kids.
Yeah.
There's 140 kids on the football field. And, so basically 75 on either side of the ball on each side. And, it was a machine. How to get those kids. How do you keep kids from just standing around? They were all doing something. It was exhausting.
Well, it's like learn it, do everything we ask, or get the hell out of here.
Right.
There's not.
And you had people that got the hell out.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Oh, yeah. First 2 weeks, you lose. You lose 20% of the team normally.
Right. And so I think that just because you're the best, I think a lot of times. And that's why, again, we try to play good people. I like to go to camps. I like to get these kids to go to camps to see what other schools are like. Because just because you're the best high school player on your team doesn't mean you can play anywhere. There's no guarantee for that. Just because you're the best high school player here in Jackson, Williamsburg, Ironton, doesn't mean you're going to play at Ohio State.
No.
Doesn't mean you're going to play, at a Division III school.
No.
It does. So, the more that we get our kids equipped to that. I remember the first year I took our players here in Jackson to watch the Bengals practice before COVID. You could do that all the time. And about the last 3 or 4 years, I did that. Took a bus after a 2-day practice, drove up. It was free.
Yeah.
Got a chance to stand from me to you, from the players, and watch practice. And then afterwards, they would have certain kids sign autographs and all that stuff. Now, of course, that's the NFL. I get it. But guys that they thought were not very big were monsters when they stood next to him. They were like, oh my God. And look how fast, and even to go to a college practice, of course, Ohio State, you see the same thing.
Well, think of the hours those guys put in, man.
It's unbelievable.
What they're doing, I don't care if it's Division III level, whatever, the hours those guys put in.
They put the same hours in.
Yeah. You watch their practices. The speed of practice, the knowledge of the game. If you don't know the offense, just get out, dude. Get out.
They're not babying you.
No.
So I tell all these kids I coach, and not just in football, if you are good enough to play college baseball, basketball, football, soccer, volleyball, it don't make a difference.
Marching 110.
Yeah, you get a chance to march. Yeah. Or you go to Ohio State. We've had several kids march at Ohio State. They were really good band members in high school. They were excellent, and they had to fight tooth and nail just to get
a chance.
Just get a chance, a sniff of it.
Yeah.
So at any level, if you can play. Participate, and don't quit, because it is so hard. Like I said, it's brutal at all those levels. That if you can stick it out, you're special.
My thing is, man, if you want to be like a high school coach, or like of any sport, like if you can somehow get on to a team, I don't care if it's Division III, II, the things you'll learn. At whatever level, because of the time you put in. You're going to watch Tuesday night practice films, dude, for an hour. You're going to hate it. It's going to be treated like a game film. But you learn so much about the game in that I don't know that you can. I don't know that it can be replicated.
You can't, and that's like when I talk to my son now. Now he, fortunate enough, he's going to be a football coach at Dominican University and as a GA, and he wants to do the college route, but. There's times in the last few years he's come home to watch our high school game. You guys have seen him on my sideline some. And the conversations I have with him now, he's smarter than I am. I'm like, what? Yeah. What did you just say? Well, we call it. Well, I can't get to that in high school. His knowledge of what he has seen on the offensive side, of course, playing at quarterback, you can do that, is unbelievable.
And he's essentially been a coach for the last 3 years as a starting quarterback. You're a coach on the field doing that anyway.
10 years.
Yeah.
So, he's been around it. But, and again, it's funny because all those interviews he had as a college coach, none of those guys asked him what his record was, how many yards he threw, how many touchdowns, interceptions. They're like, how many games you play, and you graduated and you stuck it out for 5 years. Like, there you go.
That's our guy.
They didn't ask how good you were even. They didn't even really care. Now, they knew some of the stats he had and some of the records he broke, but they didn't care about that.
That
they were
might
like,
get you in the door.
You played 5 years. Yeah. and that's unbelievable, you know. So I think the knowledge of that is huge. It is definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, there's part 2, boys.
Part 2.
All right, well, hey, tune in. Well, it's already gone. So, you guys say anything else, Coach Hall?
No, hey, Coach Hall,
we don't
thank
have
you
anything.
very
Fist
much,
bump.
man. Appreciate it.
Yes,
appreciate it.
That was enjoyable. Thanks for the helmet, man. That's going in the going up on the shelf here somewhere.
Chubby bar.
And,
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the next time you come in, you'll recognize your old player.
Well, I know Tyler now.
Now that the disguise is blown.
Did you think he was a terrorist?
No, he looks like
we think he looks a little bit like, if that guy was trying to get on an airplane.
He can't.
Maybe a problem.
Some people should. We need to get you back on the chubby train. You're too skinny. You're too skinny. You almost look starved.
Oh, quit it.
All right. Hey,
guys.
like and subscribe. Check out our sponsors in the links below. Tyler's got them tagged. See you next year.
See you soon.
See you.